All right, Dave, and welcome everyone to the East County Prep Football Preview Show. Dave, it's it's Padres time. Dave, we're
Yes,
alive.
sir.
We're alive, and we're alive for league play this week for week 7 of the season. But Dave, it's week 1. Here it's October, and it's time for the Grossmont League season, the Hills League, the Valley League. Some of the other leagues have gotten underway a little bit, but in the Grossmont Conference, it's week 1, and we'll pick our winners in the Grossmont Valley League and Grossmont Hills League. But Dave, you're all decked out in your Padres gear. Or am I on the right show?
Yes, you are. We are going to talk prep football like we do every week, and it's exciting for league play. But come on! The Padres lost that first one. That was a heartbreaker, but hey, look. The Padres won 3-0. They had pitched a shutout. Machado got into the action. I mean, that's the guy that you want us to carry the Padres anyway.
Okay.
We got a good one that we play, and I think we're very capable of taking that one too. And then I think we move on and play the Brewers.
Okay, Dave, did you know that since they started the best of 3 wild card series 3 years ago, this is the 4th year that the winner of Game 1 has won all 12 series. The Cubs won Game 1, and 10 of those came in a 2-game sweep. But you know what? Maybe the tide is turning because it looks like you know all 3 of the series are going to go to the game number 3, and they've only done it two times in 12. So you're saying there's a chance.
I got faith in we're the Friar faithful. As far as I'm concerned, we agree and we're on the same page. Let's go Padres as we ease into our week number 6, and it's league time.
Let's get into it. The Padres came back in 1984, and they can come back again, and maybe some of our teams can mount a comeback here. And look, there's some things are going to change, right? I mean, some teams had easier non-league schedules, some teams played tougher, right? So it'll toughen you up maybe for the league season, or maybe you can surprise someone and play spoiler, even if you're not one of the top teams. Because I think the league, we know we might have some favorites, but they are competitive as well. Want to thank our sponsors before we get going: Granite Mortgage, Lakeside Equipment, and Dave. Touchdown. You get your arms in there. Touchdown Plumbing. All right. Well, Dave, look, we're going to go over the 2 leagues. We usually start with the best teams, but you know what? The games aren't as close. I think we should start with a game that might be the closest game of the week, even though it involves 0-5 West Hills. We got to say it like it is, right? I mean, they have not won yet, but they have a big chance to win their first game when they take on an equally rated Monte Vista Monarchs team. I say equally rated. It's so close, Dave. In fact, the winner of this game is likely the favorite to get third place, maybe, if I had to look at it objectively, because this one is so close. And the fact that West Hills hasn't won yet, Monte Vista still look pretty good here. They did have the 38-0 loss to El Capitan was very disturbing, right? A game that we thought maybe they would be more competitive in, and if they were, maybe they would have a chance. We're kind of looking for teams, to me, that can challenge the Grossmont Foothillers for the Grossmont Valley League title. Now, the winner of this game will be 1-0, so that helps. And like I said, Dave, I think in the Valley League, the teams are very evenly matched. Grossmont, to me, is still the favorite, but between Santana, West Hills, and Monte Vista, I started the season saying I wasn't sure which one was better, and I think, given off the results we've seen, the order may be Santana number 2. But that doesn't mean that because West Hills Santana, that's a trophy game, city trophy game, the rivalry game, and Monte Vista has had some great moments so far this season with that 3-2 record.
Well, hey, yeah, and they went up to Fallbrook to meet up with the Warriors on the road. Um, and like we talked about it before it even took place, that what had happened last year, they had no wins, I think, last time. But this Monte Vista team, I think they're evenly matched, but in uh, different positions on the field. For instance, we don't have a Villanueva that's coming out of the backfield and running touchdown. I mean, scoring what on average he was scoring 3 touchdowns, maybe 4 per game. So it was just hand him the rock and blocking up front. Um, Now I haven't seen as much of Monte Vista as I have West Hills, but again, a lot of those West Hills games, whether they be on the road or if they were at home, a lot of those have been really close. And it is because that defense is so stout. I don't know what to say, whether or not going into the El Cap game, the Burner Cup last week, um, the Burner Memorial, sorry. I think that going into that game, I thought they'd be a little more evenly matched as far as the defenses are concerned. But looking at the way El Capitan played, I think they really get after it. They're very fast, they're quick, they got very good reads on the quarterback's eyes and how he's moving around in the pocket or even changing the play. So I think they're very they're watching that ball. They're not listening to all the nonsense. So they're very disciplined, and I think that's because of Coach McDade, obviously. And with this West Hills team, you know, they let him score so many touchdowns, and that really, I didn't think that was going to take place. I thought it would be, a 6-3 or something.
Yeah, El Capitan beat West Hills last week, 16-3. West Hills really didn't get the offense going. That's been a little bit of an issue for them. But you mentioned their close games, but they lost at Morris, 19-16. I really would like to have seen them win that game. They proved clutch in games like that before, but they didn't get it done. You kept mentioning that Mira Mesa game. Look how good Mira Mesa is, and West Hills only lost at home 10-7 to them. And they also played good Holtville team. Holtville did come in here and beat West Hills pretty handily. And then West Hills lost at a good University City team, which I may have ended up having overrated there for a couple of weeks. I know that they're a step down as far as class is concerned. I just thought that they would be able to keep up this type of, and they're still good, University City. But I think here, West Hills, they'll have to, you mentioned Villanueva. Look, they still have Dion Hunter, who's pretty good running back there for Monte Vista. But I think West Hills defense, what they've shown here the last several weeks against Mira Mesa Morris and against El Capitan, they lost 16-3 in the big Burner Memorial Trophy game. But I think because this game is rated so closely, I just kind of leaning towards the home team in this game. And look, this is going to be a turnaround for West Hills here. If they win this game, they're probably headed to at least 3 wins this season, if not 4. It'll depend on that Santana game. They could get I'm not going to even count them out against Grossmont. Like I said, we need to see Grossmont here in the Valley League. They do feel like they're much the best here, but like I said, the winner of this game is at least going to get off to a 1-0 start here and try to match with Grossmont eventually. West Hills comes in, though, Dave, just averaging only about 10 points per game so far this season, while the Monarchs are averaging 22 points per game. But I think the defense just makes it close. Maybe the boot of Slakowski, who's looking pretty good with his kicking, can be the difference here. I'm going to say West Hills wins it by maybe 3 points in a very, very close game that either team can certainly come away with this win.
Well, this is the conversation real quick I had with Coach Ash talking about last week, probably stung quite a bit, and that I had seen him typically play their best games against Santana or vice versa, and usually quite a close affair. Monte Vista does have a 3-2 record going into this game. However, I told him, your home field advantage will definitely be packed, as they are no matter what. Listen, I even went to West Hills when they were just mostly dirt around and a lot of those little bungalows everywhere, all spread out. And I think it was '91 before I finished my high school career at Granite Hills. So back in the days of Nicole Denekashe, as we all know, our good friend Nicole. And boy, she was a classic. Uh, pretty funny girl. But at any rate, always had a packed house, no matter who they were playing. Didn't matter what the record is. Everybody likes to attend those games. I don't know about you, and I was talking to him, but I'm looking to a low scoring defensive battle, possibly running, and a big battle in the trenches between the two offensive lines. I believe that Coach Ash's team has the advantage when it comes to the defensive line and pass rush. I believe they have a little bit of size advantage on the offense. Don't get me wrong, they still won 3 games, meaning Monte Vista, and they're averaging 22 points, which I'm going to say that's average. So, I mean, they're, 22 points a game. And unfortunately, like you said, West Hills squad is at an anemic 10 points per game. I think I know what the keys are to this game. I was telling them would be to get the W, and I think equally matched as complete units. So without the Villanueva factor, that takes away a lot of the speed. You mentioned Dion, though, however, but he didn't, and he's fantastic. He just doesn't have that big push that they had before. So we got into, basically match for match. And this is what he had to say. Coach Ash said, for us right now, it's one day at a time. Key's always going to be on the line of scrimmage. They have a ton of speed and some really talented athletes. Pretty much what I told him ahead of time. Keys for us will be to win the turnover battle, stop the run, and run the ball, convert third downs on offense, and stop the third downs on defense. And, I think it's going to be a special team. If West Hills is to win, it's going to be a special teams play. It could be a run back, or it's going to be a long field goal. Hey, and let's give credit where credit's due. They do have a very good field goal kicker. He's not Nunez for Granite Hills, but they do have a very good kicker, and I think they have some speed to returning the ball. So that's what Coach Ash had to say in this game. I'm going to say Monte Vista has been fantastic for the most part. They played a couple of tough teams. But you know what? West Hills hasn't played exactly any patsies. So I'm going to call this one 10-7. And I am going to say West Hills by a field goal. Defense, it's going to be...
Defense. Defense it's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be a defense, and then it's going to be come down to a kick, and whether or not they're going to make that kick.
Wow. That is, I mean, I'm also thinking it'll be a close score. I think I said 17-14 in the column. So I'm pretty much in agree. I don't want to go out there for 2 touchdowns, but hey, it might be, it might be that way. Remember, Monte Vista played Kearney. Dave, 12-6.
OT
earlier in the season, and then you look at that West Hills game against Beer Mesa. That was 10-7, and then last week, only 16-3. So yeah, it's going to be a defensive game for sure. If you like the defense, this is the game for you. But again, league game, and to me, look, both these teams have an outside shot to win the title. Still, I mean, this is going to be an interesting league for sure. But we'll get your take on it, because I think we can go to the next game to talk about the league favorite here with Valhalla on the road here, taking on Grossmont. Dave, but Grossmont makes its Grossmont Valley League debut. They weren't even in the, remember the old, they had it before the Valley League and the North and the Hills League. Remember, it was the Grossmont North League and the Grossmont South League, right? And the, the South League had the better team. That was like it is now. The better teams were in one. It wasn't like geographically aligned. At first, they started that way, and I think they went to the strength. But this is the first time Grossmont has been in the Valley League, so they're shifting down here from the Hills League, and I think they immediately have become the favorite to win the league.
Well, you were mentioning the North and South, but even further back, you remember the 3A and
the 3A and the 2A, right?
The 2A, right?
The Grossmont League did it too, right? I mean, it was 2A in the county, and then the Grossmont League for some years had the 3A and the 2A. That was the same.
Cow.
Yeah.
Holy cow, mold.
So Grossmont, look, you were asking, look, I think it's mostly a 2-year experiment. I think they can switch it at any time. In fact, I think one of the teams only did 1 year in one league. I think Santana went to the Hills League for 1 year a couple years ago, and then they were put back down in the Valley League. Interestingly, Dave, and I'll say this before you get into the preview of this game, it's a little one-sided, I know, but Grossmont and Helix do not play this year. I currently have them ranked right next to each other in the rankings. That might be the first time ever. And when I say in the rankings, I now have Helix outside of the top 25. But if I had, if I carried it down to the top 40, like I do in our poll, I have Helix basically one notch ahead of Grossmont. I have Helix at 27 and Grossmont at 28. This would be the year that Grossmont, I think, could challenge Helix. Unfortunately, they're not playing the Highlanders this year. So anyways, I think Valhalla will be much the best here in this game against Valhalla, because I think Valhalla is the favorite to win the Hills League here, possibly going undefeated. But those games are so tough, and considering, where that Grossmont will play a couple of these games on the road in league play, they may lose one. And that could open the door for a team to finish tied with them, I guess.
But see, here's the thing. I wish there could have been a way, and I can't believe that they didn't have any talk about that and the historical meaning of it. And because Grossmont hasn't had a chance to win that darn musket, and the year that they could actually probably do it and finally get that musket and take it over to, keep it or take it from Helix to Grossmont rather. And they didn't include that. They included the El Capitan and West Hills, and I know that one has a lot more implications, and there's just more of a story to it. But come on, the musket's a big deal. As far as I'm concerned, and I know my dad, if he were still here with us too, he'd say, "Hey, how come we're not playing that one?"
That would have never got by. He went to the schedule making meeting. That would have never got by him.
No, he would say, this is our opportunity to finally get it back into the Grossmont case, and so let's get it over here. But that's neither here nor there now. I mean, they're not going to play that. They don't care what we say. But I did get some quotes from Coach Lawrence talking about this game against Valhalla, and he was saying that they've obviously struggled record-wise, but he does think that they do some good things. He did speak very highly of Newman. The quarterback is a good, strong runner who's hard to tackle, very slippery. The trenches play tough, and in reference to the offensive line, and we know that too. But it's like he said, lastly, it's still about us and playing our game and doing what we have to do. That's pretty much what his thoughts on the game were. And he's giving credit to Valhalla, and that's absolutely true. They have a decent offensive line, and they're giving Newman time. But, he doesn't need time to stay behind his line. He can step up in the pocket, and he is also a very good runner, and I think he has good field vision. However, this Grossmont defense that was lacking, and I mean really lacking last year. Just watch the Granite Hills game, folks, from last year at Granite Hills, the Foothillers, and the highest scoring game, I think, in between the two teams, even in the county. I forget what was it, 140 to I can't remember the exact score.
Like
Right after
arena football, did they score 89 or 90 or something like that?
it was something insane, but if they broke a couple of records, probably one. Grossmont wasn't too proud of that one, but you know what? They went out and they got a defense now. They found the right guys to stop the run and a pretty decent secondary as well. I mean, let's talk about Ryder. I mean, how many sacks does he have now? I know without
9.
looking, and I was going to say 7 without looking.
You said he had 6 before last, and then he got 3 more. He got 9 sacks. This is going to have some great pass rushers, Dave. You got Brody Chartel and Zach Hagar of Valhalla too.
Let's not forget also, it's not just Ryder. We also have Colton coming in there. I think he's in there too, just looking for him to pop that ball out so he can scoop it up again and put some defensive points up on the board. I think they are the 1-2 punch, but like you said, and then Valhalla has their guys as well. I'm seeing also that the Hillers haven't lost to the Norsemen since 2014.
Oh boy!
And you are 100% correct. I'm sorry for the Norsemen, but it's not going to happen this week either, guys.
Okay.
I think Newman's a phenomenal athlete. I think Brody is a phenomenal athlete, and Zachary Hager as well. But Grossmont is right now going into league play is the leader for the Valley. Plain and simple. And I'm not just talking one side of the ball. Their offense firing on all cylinders. Oh, they lost Noah Walker. Well, big deal. You know what? Not to say that Noah Walker's not a phenomenal player, but it really didn't hurt him much because they still got quite a few great receivers.
Dave, who would win? You know what? It's funny because look at El Cap. I know they struggle to be now. They have a 4-game winning streak, but and the team did switch. But who do you think would win between El Cap and that'd be the best game of the season? Probably El Capitan versus Grossmont because they're so evenly met, right? If Grossmont went back if they were in the Hills League, they'd probably be the long shot like El Cap is. And if El Cap was in the Valley League, they'd be the favorite to win it pretty much, I think, pretty easily, just like Grossmont. So it's a little bit of a tough situation. Remember, the Hills League just had to get away from that, 4-team format. With the 3 league games because they were having trouble finding non-league games. So someone has to go in there and take the brunt of the league. But look, I think this, El Cap's playing pretty good. Maybe they can be competitive. We'll talk about the Hills League in a minute. But I think Grossmont.
Let's not forget too. They had I always like to bring this back up. They had Tommy, and we thought, oh boy, is Tyler going to be the guy that steps into the role and fills the role? Tyler Holmes has been fantastic, averaging 34 points a game. I mean, you got Anthony Lawrence. I mean, he was one of the greats. Okay.
Look, Tommy was great. Tyler Holmes. I'm sure Lawrence. I'm sure there's another. I wish I knew. I should be able to say like the JV guy or the backup on. I'm not saying they're system quarterbacks now with Lawrence, but if you are a quarterback, you probably want to, play. Yeah, granted, if you're Zach Benitez or whatever, right, you're great. You're playing on a great team. But if I was kind of in that, Grossmont wouldn't be a bad place to be quarterback of, right? I mean, I'd want that if I was trying to, get to college or something like that. Why not have a record-breaking quarterback who obviously is doing some great things with the offenses at Grossmont. It's a shade back a little bit to their previous, offenses as well. But Lawrence has kind of taken it up a notch just because of his experience as a legendary quarterback, record-setting quarterback in high school and college.
Well, and you've mentioned quite a few times. Let's just face it. There are certain squads, certain teams. It is a system, somewhat. I don't want to take anything away from the players and the talent that they have, but that the system that they have offensively, especially with the passing game and the packages that Coach Lawrence has put together, I think you could put quite a few quarterbacks off the top of my head into that program. And let's say Newman, put him over there, I guarantee his numbers would skyrocket.
I think the Hillers, right now Carlo's offenses were pretty good too. There's no doubt. But you know what? You kind of maybe have a little mix. I mean, we know that, because of Lawrence's timing and everything, and being a part of Grossmont for all those years. Interestingly, Dave, you mentioned 2014 as the last year that they won that title, and that was or not that they lost to Valhalla that year, right? Is that what it was?
Yep.
Okay, 2004 might have been two. I might have got that wrong. It might have been a different year.
I think it was 2015.
I think I got it wrong. 2015 they lost, but still, I mean, those Grossmont teams. I go back to a little bit to the Judd Holbert years. I don't know if they've. I think of some of those teams too right now, as far as winning league titles. But I got to go with Grossmont here by at least 4 or 5 touchdowns. I'll say 4 touchdowns on the conservative side.
And were you maybe referring? I'm trying to think. Was Frank Foster the quarterback at the time for?
I'm gonna go back. I'll figure that out.
You better tell me if I'm right on that one.
I will. We're gonna need a storyline for this game somehow, right? Because Grossmont is a pretty big favorite. So
yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm gonna say. I mean, just the way that they're able to. Their throws, they're not dropping balls. They got a decent running game as well, and their defense has been pretty much lights out. And you can score on the defensive side of the ball too. So definitely Grossmont by a couple of touchdowns, hands down.
And that's not to say that Valhalla will not,
they'll put up a fight.
They won, and they beat not only El Cajon Valley last year, but they also beat Santana last year for 2 league victories. And I think that they probably are just as good, if not even a little better than last year, despite the 1-4 start. So I think they started last year 2-3. So I think it's kind of the same situation. I think Valhalla is going to compete here in some league games and can finish maybe as high as 4th place with an upset. And I also want to mention, Dave, I was checking out the schedule for Grossmont. Unfortunately, or fortunately for them, but we're just trying to make some better games, right? They do host Valhalla, Santana, and Monte Vista. Their road games are at West Hills and at El Cajon Valley. So the schedule does kind of favor them a little bit. Maybe West Hills can jump up here, and they have enough defense. As good as Grossmont is, West Hills and Grossmont's played some great games over the years, for sure. It was always a great matchup. So there's a chance there with West Hills at home to just kind of slow them down and score.
Well, I always give them. It's not only the defense, but let's always think about Smurffield and also the crowd. Like I said, people don't think about them having the big crowd like the Granite Hills. They don't think about the Helix crowd, or they think about the Helix crowd, but West Hills can fill those stands real quick. I think it's sometimes there isn't even enough room.
Yeah, those fans right there that kind of near the I guess that's the east side of the stadium, where you kind of go into the stadium and you go down kind of towards the left. And those students right there where they're throwing the baby powder. I don't know if it's pink, if it's white. I think they do the pink baby powder on the pink out game. Yep. Right. So Okay.
Oh, they've always got something going on over there. So I think it's to attract the non-football fans to come out to and just enjoy the camaraderie while they're out there. And I'm sure the boyfriends appreciate them coming out there too, even though they're probably not watching most of the game. And moving on to the Santana at Elkhorn Valley, I'm going to let you take it first, but I think this one's going to be closer than people think.
Right, and the Braves. Look, they played well. I thought they would be better than 2-3 at this point. Really, at first I wasn't sure, but after the first game, actually, that's when, Dave. I thought, even though it was that first game, remember they played Mar Vista and lost, and then they lost to Hill. They lost those first 3 games, but now they beat Orange Glen, they beat Castle Park. I said they would have a easier time with that schedule, and I think they fulfilled a good expectation in those 2 wins. I'm disappointed in those losses now, seeing how good the team has played in the last 2 games. They have a great player in John Vier Kashindi, who kind of does it on both ends of the ball right now. He's kind of come on big time here the last couple of games, but it's going to be tough taking on a Santana team that's kind of clicking here right now. I've got them projected for second place all of a sudden, and mostly because of a good-looking defense right now and also a good quarterback in Ethan Miller.
Miller?
Like these receivers as well, with the Denton Gore out there leading the way, and of course our favorite player, Coco Thornton, here so far this season. So look, Santana's owned this series, Dave, with 13 straight wins, and they've already played 2 common opponents. Sultans defeated Canyon Hills 30-0. The Braves lost to Canyon Hills 32-13. The Sultans beat Hilltop 28-7. The Braves lost to Hilltop 29-7. It's almost an opposite score on both games. So I have a hard time making a case for the Braves here, especially given the series history right now. But I still think the Braves can pull off a win or 2 in league play this season. If you look at their schedule kind of here, Dave, I guess, they do host West Hills on the final night of the season. But other than that, they play at Valhalla and at Monte Vista. Grossmont game is at home, but we know that'll be tough enough. So the home games are the ones. I think the game against Santana and the game against West Hills give the Braves their best chance. But the Braves, pulled off, like I said, an upset last year too. So I'd like to see at least 2 wins from the Braves in league play. I know they have higher aspirations, but that would be pretty good.
Well, I did not too much as he's practicing up, getting ready for Santana, but Coach James Simon of the Elkhorn Valley Braves did take a couple of seconds to give me a couple of his thoughts going up against Santana as a good team. We will definitely need to slow down their passing game. You already mentioned him. He said look for John Veer Kashindi and Isaiah Hick to have an impact on this game. So look for those two, especially is what he's referring to. And we saw what they both can do. And I think that you still got the speed on that offense. And not to mention, Kashindi is, I think he's a bigger guy too, that can knock a couple of people down, maybe stiff arm a couple on the way into gaining some extra yardage and or a touchdown. I guarantee if I haven't got anything back from Coach Estes of the Sultans, but I think, and every time I've talked to him when he plays the Braves year in, year out, he always gives mutual respect to that club. As we all know, I don't know the exact year. You know that he was a head coach for Elkhorn Valley years ago. Maybe the 80s. I want to say, was that before Watkins? Anyhow, he has a little bit of a soft spot for Elkhorn Valley, but when it comes to this, he's definitely going to want his Sultans to be in full swing, no pun intended, it's better than being in dire straits, right? But so I'm going to take Santana, but I'm going to take them by 10. I think that this Oklahoma Valley team is going to hang around.
All right, I'll go with the. I'm going to go with the Sultans here by at least 3 touchdowns, and they probably win it by more. But the Braves, give them credit there. They're at home because Shindy is definitely one of those players that don't want to. He's great on El Cajon Valley, and he's doing a great job. And they got you mentioned Isaiah Hicks too. He's just a sophomore, and he's going to be a very talented player as well. And look, I think the Braves, their record shows the fact that they're 2-3 improving right now, that it's not necessarily a matter of the talent on the field sometimes matching up with these other players on the other teams. It's the depth and not having enough of those players like the other teams have. So, and they get, a little bit tired, a little bit more two-way action as well. So, go Braves, and hopefully they'll have a great game, but the Sultans go as well. And like I said, I've got them. I'm going Braves second place, Dave, in the predictions behind Grossmont. And then, like I said, I think the winner of the game between Monte Vista and West Hills will get third place, and then the loser will probably get fourth place, and then Valhalla, and then the Braves. Okay, let's go over to the Hills League, Dave, and we can make our predictions there. We know who we're going to pick. So Granite Hills has the week off. They have a bye here in the 5-team league. They are the 3-time defending champions of the Hills League. So if you want to get your Eagles rant out of the way over last week's game, even though we lamented it on Friday night, even I was mad with the officiating in that game. But Granite Hills is a clear-cut favorite. Mount McGill's been great. They're right outside the top 10. I've got Granite Hills ranked 8th right now, but the other pollsters have them probably properly lined at 6th. I just was disappointed in the last game, Dave. I got to be honest with you, against the Dons. Look, I knew we were underdogs in that game. It just felt like the Dons were, and I had the Dons rated a little bit lower, so I'm not penalizing the Eagles. Don't pay attention to my ratings. There's just a lot of undefeated teams, and you got to give them all those teams a chance. Once Granite Hills wins this league championship, they'll be right back up there in the top 5 or 6 teams. Because, in fact, there's one of the matchups this week of the top 25 of LCC and Mission Hills. One of those teams is going to get a loss. So Eagles, anyway, with 3 losses, unbelievably so far, Dave. But again, they've really lost to teams that they were underdogs against. So I've got them to win the league championship. I've got Mount McGill second. I'm going to go Steel Canyon over Helix because I think Steel Canyon is probably better than Helix right now.
And well, here's my thing. I think on the Granite, just one more rant. It seemed to me, and we were in agreement on this, every time Granite Hills was, they had picked up the first down, and they had barely picked up the first down on quite a few when they were driving into the red zone area. And then the next thing you know, there's a hold, or they didn't spot the ball where they should have, and they'd spotted an inch or 2 behind the line. And then they would stack the box, and then next thing you know, it's a turnover on downs. I wasn't impressed with that officiating group. I don't know what was going on there, but I think that Granite Hills got shortchanged on that game, and definitely could have, without that, and these flags that shouldn't have been thrown, let them play. I think Granite Hills could have got that win last week, and they still looked good even in that loss on both sides of the ball.
I agree with that. I think that the way the calls went was why they probably, so maybe I penalized them a little too much, but they have 3 losses right now, and hey, they probably will win all 4 games in league play and finish the season, finish at 7-3 and be one of the favorites, if not number 1 or number 2 in Division 1 entering the postseason. That's just going to probably be the case. So, anyways, for Steel, I'll just mention we're talking about the Valley League first and predict this game. But Steel Canyon does play at Helix, but I still kind of have Steel Canyon a little bit ahead of Helix. Helix will have to show some improvement for me to maybe change my prediction heading into that game.
Well, you got Helix at Mount Miguel.
What do I have in this game? Or you mean in the standings?
Oh, no. Okay, that's what you're referencing. I thought we were now talking about Helix against Mount Miguel.
Okay, well, I'll switch it up then. I was predicting the final standings of the Grossmont.
Oh, okay.
No problem here. Helix is in unfamiliar territory of being an underdog in Grossmont Hills League play for most of their games, probably outside of the LCAP game, maybe at home against Steel Canyon. They could be favored. But the Highlanders have been shut out for the first time in back-to-back games since 1996 and are averaging less than 12 points per game. And meanwhile, Mount Miguel with Jeremiah Loper and AJ Logan has 7 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. So I got to think that Mount Miguel wins this game here by at least 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I got to... I don't want to say I enjoyed watching the performance last week because I was also watching along with the Granite Hills game and the flags that shouldn't have been thrown. But I was also watching the Helix game. That defense looked pretty good. I must say, I got to give credit where credit's due, especially the D-line. They have to do something about quarterback play. They were going backwards so many times. And it wasn't just penalties. It was drop balls. They don't have a specific runner, as I mentioned before, I think 2 weeks ago. They don't have a Chris Washington type runner to pick up, even picking up 5 or 6 so you can get a couple of good chunks, and then that way you shorten the field, and then you can kind of dink and dunk your way into the end zone. I did not see too many long balls, if you will, coming from Lester. And he ran quite a few times, but they were ready for him. Unfortunately, that defense was swallowing him up real quick. I'm sure they saw plenty of film to shut him down, and it was unfortunate because the defense worked pretty hard. They did have a couple of sacks in that game as well. I want to say, I don't have it in front of me, but I want to say they had a pick as well as far as the Highlander defense. So I just think we need to get maybe another receiver and a running back that can give us some extra yardage and a shorter first down, something that's achievable. But this one here, it's going to be way too tough. The speed and the velocity on the ball and being able to read the field like Loper can, I think it's going to be a mix of run and pass. Mount Miguel wins by 4 touchdowns. I'm sorry, Helix, but it's just a down year, and Mount Miguel is going right back up.
The Highlanders did have 2 interceptions last week from sophomore Jay Sells and junior Dante Wright, who's looked pretty good, certainly for the Highlanders. But the tide has already shifted in this series. Matadors wrestled the long-held Claymore sword last year, 48-35 in La Mesa. So that was another trophy that the Highlanders had kept so long that dust was accumulating on it from years of non-display. But Matadors took that thing and made a big deal out of it for sure. And Coach told us it's hanging up there big time. Okay, so yeah, gotta think Helix is in a bit of an underdog role for sure there against Mount Miguel. Okay, Dave, next up, we got two hot teams coming in here. One with a 4-game winning streak, one with a 6-game winning streak. Look, this is probably the featured game of the week, really, if you look at the records and the impact. It's just that Steel Canyon is going to be a pretty big favorite here, and thought we'd focus in on the Valley League a little bit with that closely rated game, no matter how you look at it. So, still, El Capitan, Dave, rebounded from that slow start, those back-to-back shutouts now with 4 straight wins thanks to that defense. Coach McDade came on and talked up that defense from last week, talking about Spencer Chastain, Bruin Ford, and the crew winning the big trophy game, 16-3, totally shutting down West Hills. But Dave, Steel Canyon's on a roll. They're averaging nearly 37 points per game right now, and they look like they could make a playoff run. Could Steel Canyon and Granite Hills not only play a regular season game, but maybe they could meet somewhere in the Division I playoffs this season? Right now, they own an 8-game winning streak also over El Capitan, and the Vaqueros are going to find the going tough here in the Grossmont Hills League, where they'll be underdogs, I think, in every game this season. But you know what? That's going to help them in the playoffs when it comes down to it, because El Capitan will be a division down from these teams, and they'll actually be, as long as they stay healthy and don't get beat up by the strong Hills League teams, El Cap can make some damage in the playoffs. They may go in there, Dave, with a 4-6 record, but they're going to be one of the they'll be a playoff tested team. I think what I'm trying to say there. So last year, Dave, they did play, and it was only 19-13. Steel Canyon won at El Capitan, but El Capitan is at home this year, and I think they can probably take this one by maybe 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I wanted to add also on the other side, and I mentioned some of these great players also, like Gavin Kaha and Nico Jara leading the charge. And then I asked Coach Sean McDade what he thought about that, what the game plan was, and or where they were going to attack and the keys to the game. Said they are a great team. They are extremely well coached, in reference to, I'm sure, the whole staff, Scott Longerbone leading the charge. They are good in all 3 phases of the game. Bryce Benegas, Todd Carter, and Josh Vasquez are the keys for the El Capitan defense. Offensively, we will stay the course and try to stay balanced with the run and pass. It's going to take a great effort for us to win, but we will be prepared and play hard.
Yeah, for sure. I think that El Capitan's defense is playing solid enough that maybe it can be just maybe a 1 or 2 score, but El Capitan, the way this Steel Canyon team, Dave, reminds me of those. Remember the great 3-year run that Steel Canyon had. And remember they had the big section title, and they went on to the state.
Ramona.
Yeah, they had that incredible. And this is what it reminds me of right now with the way that Steel Canyon is going here right now. They had that incredible string of seasons in there that really, really put them on the map, is what it felt like back when Steel Canyon was winning those games prior to the. So anyway, I think Steel Canyon is set to win here. It's just be tough for El Capitan, especially with this one on the road. But hey, they got a chance. They got a chance against Helix here. Maybe something against the Matadors. Hopefully.
Well, yeah, if they get him going, don't be surprised if they don't start right away to get Castillo the ball and feeding him the ball often. And I'm just going to guess, and I'm sure you have the statistics right now on that, but I want to say he's averaging probably 6 yards per carry as far as when he is running the ball. And credit the offensive line for creating those holes. And he's a very speedy player and setting up the pass just beautifully. I mean, they're a complete team.
Yeah, Castillo. Yeah, go ahead.
But Steel Canyon is also in all 3 phases. I mean, Coach McDade said the same thing. This is probably the toughest opponent that El Capitan will play. This is a playoff game. It does have playoff implications as far as point-wise as well. Steel Canyon is on the rise. With that being said, Coach McDade, we love you for coming on last week, and the 4-game winning streak has been fantastic, but unfortunately for the Vaqueros, Steel Canyon is going to go on to a 7-0 and win their first league game against El Capitan by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, and El Capitan, that's a compliment there to say that the Steel Canyon may be the toughest opponent they play, since they do play also Granite Hills and Mount Miguel. So, yeah, Castillo, 6.5-yard average this season, 3 touchdowns, 438 yards rushing for that ground game. That's done pretty good. Averaging 4.8 yards per carry. You also have Brody Kopp, who's been, remember, he's only come on the scene here and already 110 yards. He's kind of a bulldozing back. He's got 3 touchdowns in 2 games. Been a big boon there for El Capitan. All right, that's a look at the Hills League, Dave, and we got the Eagles to win it again. 3-time defending champions, Dave. Can you believe that? It's already been 3 championships in a row for the Eagles.
I love it.
All right. Speaking of league play, we got 2 teams in desperate need of a win here. When Christian takes on the La Jolla Vikings in La Jolla here. Both teams are 0-1 in Eastern League play, trying to avoid an 0-2 start. Dave Christian might have been 1-0. I'm still trying to figure out if Kai Rozier somehow had – I have a picture that shows Kai Rozier with 1 foot down and is touching the ball. But remember, he bobbled the ball twice. So there's a picture of him holding the ball when he's standing in the end zone. But – he never really, it was like he had it for just a split second, and then it was popping loose. So the picture, I don't know, it doesn't maybe necessarily tell you. He grabbed it again, and he had his foot down, but the referee, who was right there, I mean, I've got to give the referee a little bit of credit, right? I mean, whether it was right or wrong, I don't know, but he at least was right there on the call. He was standing right there on the line and said, no, Rozier. I mean, of course, they were disappointed, and they're Christian, so they're just going to have to accept that result. But what a finish we saw. We had the highlights of the game. It was incredible. So they nearly pulled off. Their prayers were nearly answered with that Hail Mary, but Madison won there. While La Jolla struggled against undefeated Point Loma, I have Point Loma higher than all the other rankings, but Point Loma won again. And this should be a great matchup of quarterbacks with Caleb Runkle and Hudson Smith of La Jolla. Both teams have a 100-yard per game receiver, and Kai Rozier made that incredible catch, and then he almost caught the Hail Mary. And the Vikings, Carson Deal, who's an exceptional 2-way player, a great defensive back as well. So I don't know. There might be some points here. Vikings did defeat the Patriots last time they met, 49-19 2 years ago in the season finale at Valley Stadium. The Vikings won by 30 on that night.
Yeah, I think they really got their work cut out for them, and then having to go on the road up to La Jolla, and you know, they've been progressively getting better and being that La Jolla team of the past. And Christian is just, ever since they got into this Eastern League, I know they've only played the 1 game, but even their non-league games, they've been having a tough time. I have to hand it to them, though. They really put everything into that last game, and it shows that they got the heart to do it. So hopefully, with that kind of play, hopefully Runkle can get something dialed in, and his favorite, Kai Rozier, he's just phenomenal. And then let's not take it away from Coach Joey Moronis and the younger Moronis. He also had a play, I believe. Was he the one that blocked the I think he blocked the field goal last week. And that was also key to getting much closer. But unfortunately, like we said, it came to that foot just barely out of bounds. Boy, and that just must have just taken the air out of the sails for the Christian High Patriots. being able to be 2-3, 1-0 in league play, and that could have really helped them bounce back and kind of, you know, give them a little more confidence going into this one, because I think that they're going to be going into La Jolla playing a very confident and looking to beat Christian, and they have a lot of faith in themselves. So I'm going to actually say La Jolla wins this one by at least 2 touchdowns, maybe more, unless we can see some Runkle magic and a Runkle Rozier.
These guys are incredible. They're so exciting. I mean, how can it not be a close game? I think I like La Jolla too, maybe by maybe 2 touchdowns, but it feels like they'll keep it. Like Christian can keep it close against these teams. They just have trouble closing the game. It feels like when you're relying on a Hail Mary. But man, that jump pass that he threw in there, that Runkle, it is Runkle magic, man. Good thing we get to see this guy, our buddy. He's so good, and just does amazing things one game after another. So does feel tough, but it feels like it should be an exciting game. I said La Jolla maybe by 2 touchdowns, but Christian should be able to keep it within a touchdown. It feels like they could pull it off, but they definitely are underdogs.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'll take the Vikings as well, but Christian can get that one. All right, Dave. Just 2 more games I'll cover real quick here involving our teams, but really that's it. You got Mountain Empire on fire here right now, 5-1. They're already 2-0 in league play. They're taking on another undefeated team in O'Farrell Charter. They have Elisha LaShawn Robinson. He's one of the county's most productive backs, averaging over 150 yards per game, but O'Farrell has quarterback Jacoby Coleman. He's a dual threat with some good numbers as well. Both teams played Calipatria, but Mountain Empire won 28-22, while OFC lost 32-28 to the Hornets. So, yeah, the Red Hawks maybe a little bit better defensively, though. I think they'll be able to win this game, even on the road, by at least a field goal here over O'Farrell. Mountain Empire, look, they're in that bottom league, but this is a team that will compete in the 5 AA playoffs against some good teams. The 5 AA playoffs are actually be quite interesting with teams like Mountain Empire, like Calipatria as well in there, and a couple of others. So
it's that big tournament that they have of their own, and I think Mountain Empire, honestly, with the exception of maybe Hopeville, I think that they really should be able to beat all of those teams and win whatever trophy that they give for that special. What is the league you call it?
5 AA.
Yes. So
5 AA. Right. The rankings currently in the 5 AA division. So if you're looking, it's very competitive. You got Palo Verde Valley. You got Maranatha Christian, you've got Claremont up there, but Claremont just lost to Calipatria last week in a wild game, 68-56, I think it was. So there's really, I think, 5 teams that are competing for the championship. I think Valley Verde, Maranatha Christian, Claremont, Mountain Empire, and Calipatria. I think all those teams have a chance to win the championship of that conference, which involves several teams from this Sunset League as well. A lot of them, there'll be some rematches in the playoffs because of the way the structure is. The other game here involving 2 of those teams will be Foothills Christian taking on Calipatria. The Knights are the lowest rated team in the section here. They're searching for their first win. The Hornets are averaging 42 points a game and scored 68 points last week. So I expect Calipatria to win this one at home by at least 4 touchdowns over Foothills Christian. Okay.
Do you think, now with that being said, do you think Foothills Christian, after this season, the way it's been so rocky, do you think that, hey, Robert and Lori Davila joining us, the Lakeside Appliance, and also, hey, thank you so much for sending us those videos, Robert. We really appreciate that of the Christian game. We I mean, even though they were the smaller clips, the clips that you got, we even when we did the show on Friday, we actually we did some rewinding ourselves because we wanted to make sure that the ref got it right, and that was awful close, uh, you know. But a tough one though to take one on the chin. But maybe the Patriots will come back on this on that one. But this one here, Ramon, do you think that if they go 0 for 0 and 10, do you think that Foothills Christian goes back to the 8-man? Do you hear any chatter about that?
I do think they do, but I think they might have to do one more year of before they went back right away to. I think they did one season, but I think that was kind of close to the pandemic where everything was kind of getting. They had to fix things real quick, put everybody back together, put all of us back together. So they might have to do one more season, but yeah, Foothills Christian may be more suited for the 8-man game, given their rosters and everything, because these other teams are looking pretty good here right now. It's at the bottom. Foothills Christian, Tri-City Christian, Victory Christian, and O'Farrell are kind of the bottom teams in Rock Academy.
And they won so many championships year after year with the 8-man. So you know what? It was there. Robert saying it was a close call. I just saw down there for that Christian game. And boy was it.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate. But we still got a few league games that Patriots can put together some wins and get into the playoffs and make some noise.
Yeah, for sure. We're getting ready for league play here this week. So we'll be by, right, Dave, on Friday night with our post-game show and go over the great action here. I don't know, Dave. I've got maybe here the picture of Rozier here at the end of the game and seeing if it was a touchdown or not, but it looks pretty close. There, let me see if I can bring. Oh, his feet, are they on the ground there? I don't know. He's got the ball. There's his toes there. I don't know. It's close. Close there. So should be. We're in league play now. So good job, Dave, getting the show together. Thanks for getting all those quotes from all the coaches. I think that really puts a good context on the games here for this week. We'll be back on Friday night with our post-game show. We'll be looking for some winners maybe on the road. Who can win on the road, Dave? Could it be Monte Vista winning on the road at West Hills? We know Santana's going to win, but could Christian pull off a road win somehow? I think those are the two prime.
Could the Vaqueros pull off the upset of the year against Steel Canyon?
We need it. We want one big upset by someone this season.
Okay, and also, once again, I know we are the prep football, but I do want to thank again our sponsors, I should say, Granite Mortgage, Lakeside Equipment. Thank you to the Davillas and Touchdown Plumbing. And thanks for all of you that have stopped in to get our picks and listen to us talk about your favorite teams. And I wanted to. Do we have anybody? That was my question. Do we have anybody on the bus so we can pull that out of the garage this week?
Now, I think the teams that are on the road that are looking for some upsets here include Monte Vista on the road in a closely rated game against West Hills, and Christian against La Jolla possibly there. Could they get out of La Jolla and come back down 52 with a win there? And we'll see. Empire coach said we'll try to get him. I exchanged a message with Coach Cam out there, and maybe they'll be traveling all the way. I don't know what the reception will be like, but they're traveling here, coming into San Diego to take on O'Farrell. They'll have to ride back to Pine Valley, hopefully with that victory.
And before we sign off, folks, how about those Padres with the 3-0 shutout, and hopefully they continue and they finish off those Cubs. Too bad we don't have our Cub Buster shirts. I wish I would have kept those from back in the day. But
I have
I
them.
think,
I have them still, but they're in storage in San Diego.
but I gotta say, I got this. This is the closest thing I could get, and I'm hoping that they can do one of those tomorrow. And then I believe that will send us to Milwaukee, to come and see me, and my wife and I could sit on the couch. She can go for Brewers, and I can go for the Padres. And boy, it could get kind of loud in here.
All right.
Nothing like postseason baseball. But other than that, thank you, Ramon. For Ramon Scott, I'm Dave Dickens. We will see you Friday. Good night.